I must assure and kind of re-emphasize the fact that my session today will be possibly the most different session, okay, of the whole day. Because I will not be talking about markets, selling, business, products, positioning. I'll be talking about rural India, all right, but I'll be talking about rural development. And I'll be talking about primarily CSR, which is the corporate social responsibility. In India, it has now become a law, a mandate. India is the first country in the world which has now mandated CSR as a part of legislation, and all corporates have to follow this. India is a country where in the year 2014, this was actually implemented. So I'll be talking about CSR in terms of the corporate social responsibility and how relevant is this going to be as far as rural India is concerned. Once again, not from rural India in terms of a market for us, but in terms of rural development, which will in future become a market for you in case we are able to empower the rural segment. So I'll first talk about the CSR funnel that we have in the country. I'm sure all of, most of the corporates and some of the corporates are actually falling under the ambit of CSR, which is for organizations who have a turnover of more than 1,000 crore or net worth of having more than 500 crores or an annual net profit of more than 5 crores. So all such organizations who fall under this structure will have to spend 2% of their profit on corporate social responsibility. And this law has come into force, and it is being very strictly enforced by Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India. And I'll be talking about, how we can use CSR as a platform, as a tool to be able to reach out to rural India and create a market for you in the future. And this is relevant for the corporates, for the business heads. And I'll be talking about various theories in terms of how we can integrate CSR into the business model, into the business strategy from a long-term sustainability perspective. Very quickly, we have a Companies Act that all corporates will have to follow. We have a Section 135, and under Section 135, we have a Schedule 7 that will that lists out what can be done under CSR and what cannot be done. So we have a positive list. As of now, we don't have a negative list, but we have a positive list. So from that perspective, there is a Schedule 7 clause on rural development, and where corporates can actually spend money using various platforms and strategies that they have to develop the rural part of the country, which is the market in your case. So here we have the provisions available. Here we have the interest of the corporates. Here we have a CSR strategy in place by the corporates, and one just needs to ride on it and reach to the desired destination. Each and every organization, I'm talking about Emami in my case, we have a CSR committee, a CSR policy, a CSR framework, a CSR strategy, and all organizations have to follow this under law, and under that, the CSR has now come to the boardroom, which means that the board members of the organization decide on what projects to do and what not to do. If rural India is important, the board understands that, and they'll be spending more money and allocate more resources and funds to rural India. And this is going to be the future in terms of bringing CSR into the boardroom, and strategic decisions about the country's growth in terms of development can take place from the boardroom. Just a quick snapshot on the current scenario as far as CSR is concerned in India. All of you, I'm sure you love the word profit, right? And it's a word which is very dear to our heart. And we as business, we consider this as the main purpose why we exist. Here we have a different thought process, and there are some different theories I'll be talking about, and how we at Emami, we are trying to embark upon a journey. I'll be talking today about the journey of Emami, not about the destination, because we haven't reached the destination as yet. But here we'll talk about the journey of Emami in terms of how we are trying to embark upon a journey which is different, which is going beyond profit. I know oxygen is required for everyone to breathe, right? Without oxygen, we can't breathe. Oxygen is required for us to have a life. But does that mean that the purpose of our life should be to breathe oxygen? Same for business. This is what we believe in. The profit is anyway required for business to survive, but does that mean that profit needs to be the sole motive why business exists? And this is how we'll be talking about a theory, which is the triple three theory, which is the triple bottom line theory here, that most of the business across the world, and I'll be talking about some global benchmarks that we are trying to follow. We are making an attempt to kind of look into the best world practices in terms of sustainability, business sustainability, environmental sustainability, so on and so forth. So the single bottom line is what we love talking about, is the bottom line of profit. The world is fast changing into taking into account the second P, which is the people. And now in the future, there will be a triple bottom line, which is going to be the planet, which is the 3P theory, which is the triple bottom line theory. So right now, we in the country, we are in a transition phase. I was working in Australia for about 7 years, and there possibly, the rest of the world has gone or moved beyond the single bottom line and the double bottom line, and they have, kind of all the business houses, they have environment as one of the prime focus areas in terms of moving forward. In India, we are kind of having a transition and moving towards single bottom line to double bottom line, and in the future, hopefully the triple bottom line. In India, still there is a concept about charity and donation, जिसको हम लोग दान बोलते हैं. दान करने की प्रथा काफ़ी दिन से चली आ रही है हमारे यहाँ. And there is this concept of, you must be hearing words like philanthropy, donation, charity, which is like a single-time activity that all organizations do. CSR is more strategic. It's more about project. It's more about having a sustained effort. It's more about having a quantifiable target to meet. And this is where organizations in the country are moving, having a transition from a charity-based approach to a strategic approach, which is a CSR being followed in the world, in India. In terms of the monetary value, out of around 20,000 crore that can be spent under CSR, in terms of the corporates, around 10,000 crore is being spent annually on CSR by the corporates. And out of that, and this is as per the report of the India CSR Outlook Report 2019, just 14% of the CSR money is being spent on rural development, which means that there's a lot of scope for corporates to spend this money in rural India. That means there's a lot of scope for reaching out to the rural population. There's a lot of scope to use CSR as a vehicle or a tool or a bridge to be able to go create a market for yourself and look into the 3 Ps, which is the profit, people, and planet from a sustainability perspective. This is just a snapshot in terms of where we are right now. I'll be talking about integration of CSR strategy, and I'll be just talking about some of the few points in terms of the CSR strategy of an organization. And in this context, I'm talking about Imami's CSR strategy, which is about implementing program. We are aligning the CSR strategy with the business vision and the mission that we have, so that we are working in the same direction. We are trying to have the identification of the NGOs or the partners in the rural areas with whom we are working to build up a community connect. And here we don't work for the community. We believe in working with the community as partners. So these are some very different approaches that we are trying to bring about as far as our integration of the CSR strategy with the business is concerned. Which means that CSR is now coming, as the center in terms of the business, HR, and doing greater good. There are a lot of ways in which CSR will be able to help the organization. And CSR possibly has not been used much in the country in terms of shared value concept, in terms of giving benefit to the business. It's been still considered possibly as a separate department, a separate vertical. Most of the organizations across the country are having CSR department as a separate area. Some organizations have an HR who's taking care of CSR. Some organizations are having the public relations department who are taking care of CSR. I think CSR has the potential, just like we've got operations, sales, marketing, finance, CSR has got the potential of having a separate vertical in the organization. Out of the various ways in which CSR can help the organization, I'll be touching about two topics. I can see 6 minutes left for me. So I'll be touching two topics today, which is about creating shared value and the triple bottom line. I touched upon triple bottom line. I'll try and go slightly deeper in terms of how it can help from a business sustainability perspective. But before I do that, once again, I like to talk about the 1970s, the gentleman, Mr. Milton Friedman, who mentioned the fact that the only corporate social responsibility a company has to do is to maximize its profit. And he was very clear that, look, here we have a shareholder who's invested, and our job as officials of the business is to bring him the ROI. Doing charity, doing social work, doing CSR is not the responsibility of any business. Let the shareholder take his money and decide what to do with that money. That was one theory that came in 1970. World is changing fast. We have another gentleman, Mr. John Elkington, who spoke about the triple bottom line theory as a sustainability theory for the future in terms of the importance of organizations to focus on profit, planet, and the people. So the journey to business sustainability, like I mentioned, is from a single bottom line, double bottom line, and to a triple bottom line, which is the 3 Ps I just spoke about. From a people perspective, as far as, let's say, Imami is concerned, there are a lot of programs that we run as part of our CSR, which in a way helps create a market for the business. Let's talk about Ayurveda. In fact, Jandu is one of our brand, Jandu Balm. And we have an Ayurveda project called Sanjeevani, where we are doing health assessments, we are doing health screening, we are having promotive and preventive care in the attempt of reducing the disease burden on the economy. Now, in the whole process of doing CSR and benefiting people, what we are also doing indirectly as a byproduct of CSR is creating a market for the products that we have. So once again, there are ways and means where CSR can be used, and we have enough examples. And once again, we are having a lot of pilot programs, proof of concepts. We are experimenting. We are into social innovation, trying out various things, and we are happy to fail, learn, incorporate the learnings in future programs, and try and work out a model which is going to be a sustainable model for the business to exist and survive in the future. So sustainability, as I mentioned, is the convergence point between our focus on people, profit, and planet. And that's what, the goal for the future should be. Profit can be short-term. We can earn profit today. But to be able to sustain yourself in the long run as a business in the whole ecosystem, I think we need to have, the triple bottom line approach. Once again, we are in the process of embarking upon this journey, and the destination is yet to be reached. But it's the attempt or is the effort, I think it's worth making for all organizations. Apart from the 3 Ps, I think we as an organization, we love, adding the other 3 Ps, which is the passion, the purpose of the business, okay, which is beyond profit, and of course, having very strong principles. Last but not the least, I'd like to talk about the concept of shared value. Shared value is a concept which all business houses can actually move into as the way forward for the future, where the problem of the society or the problem of the rural India, for example, right now, let's say in the rural population, we still have problems to do with education, health, infrastructure, disease burden on the economy. And these problems of the country, of the rural India, can be used to build a business model around it and to have a business which is based on these problems or these challenges or these needs, so that, instead of having a business which is, for example, tailored towards interiors or towards any of these fancy items that is required, the business, the supply chain, the partnerships can be built towards solving business problems and to integrate and environmental improvement into the economic value chain creation is what the future as far as CSR and social work is concerned. 1 minute to go. And I like to once again talk about the future opportunity that we have in terms of once again having the opportunity of using our or leveraging our business expertise. We heard a lot about technology, how technology can be leveraged to solve challenges and to address and to reach out to the people in case it's technology or any of the business expertise that we have, along with the social needs, how we can have a convergence, along with the business opportunities and go towards a shared value concept. So what I discussed today was a couple of new age social concepts. Once again, I tried to make it relevant to the rural population. These are social aspects. Most of the corporates are doing this around the city, around their own factories, around their own head offices. But this is something that we can take. And last but not the least, the food for thought is we have these concepts about corporate social responsibility. Then we have a corporate business responsibility in terms of not polluting the air and the water and the soil and everything. And how about individual social responsibility, where we as an organization, we are trying to build up a value system for our employees so that they can also get involved in activities like giving blood and having individual recycling, plastic, pollution reduction and all that. So these are some of the ways.